You won't believe what a few broken tiles, old wood, and plastic bottles can become. These aren't just pergola kitchens. They're proof that creativity can make trash feel like treasure. This is Archon Aesthetic Studio, where ordinary things are reimagined into extraordinary beauty. Today's video brings you 21+ genius pergola kitchen ideas that look luxurious, but are made from scrap. Use the timestamps to explore what fits your space best. Questions? Drop them below. And if this stirs something in you, subscribe not just to a channel, but to a story. Behind this screen is a dream, a family. One click keeps that dream alive. One modern rustic pergola kitchen with recycled brick counter. The sound of morning birds floats through wooden beams, and sunlight filters lazily through the slats of a humble pergola. But this isn't just a backyard. It's a quiet revolution, a place where reclaimed bricks, once forgotten, have become the foundation of something extraordinary. At first glance, it looks expensive, polished, curated, but if you look closer, you'll see the truth hiding beneath the charm. This kitchen counter, it was born from discarded red bricks salvaged from a crumbling structure across town. Each one carries history, chipped, imperfect, real. Topped with thick slabs of old pallet wood, now reborn as a rustic counter, it tells the story of time, of effort, of love. There's no marble here, no fancy tiles. Instead, there's ingenuity. Hanging glass bottles shimmer like lanterns in the breeze. The shelves are nothing more than reworked crate wood, softened by age, holding herbs that fill the air with fragrance. Basil, mint, and something citrusy dancing on the edge of sunlight. In another corner, vines quietly climb the posts like they've always belonged. Ivy spills over the edge like a green waterfall. Underneath, a grill and oven stand proudly within an arched brick frame, their base hand-laid by someone with more heart than budget. It's imperfect, and that's the point. This is what it means to build something beautiful with your own hands. To take trash, and with a bit of vision and effort, give it a second life, perhaps even a better one. Don't let the polished patios on Pinterest fool you. You don't need $1,000 to create a space that feels rich in soul. What you need is time, some old materials, and a willingness to believe that beauty isn't about cost, it's about intention. So next time you see a broken fence panel, or a stack of old bricks by the curb, don't walk past them. That might just be the beginning of your dream pergola. One that isn't just aesthetic, but deeply yours. Because here, in the corners of these gravel paths and under the shade of reclaimed beams, something expensive looking is blooming. And it started with trash. Two, tropical bamboo pergola with built-in barbecue and garden edging. In the warmth of a tropical afternoon, here stands a pergola, simple in its essence, yet rich in soul. Crafted from bamboo poles, thick and sturdy, the structure rests gently upon a garden of light. Its roof, thatched with dry palm leaves, rustles faintly as the wind stirs the canopy overhead. At first glance, it might seem like a luxury escape, somewhere tucked away in a resort far from home. But this was built with scrap and heart. The kitchen counters are a collage of driftwood and river stones. Some collected by hand, others rescued from demolition piles or washed ashore from another life. The cabinetry, nothing but repurposed bamboo fencing, cut, sanded, and made beautiful again. And then there's the garden, edged not with marble or manicured walls, but with curved natural stones, each one hand-laid to form organic borders that cradle the tropical blooms. Hibiscus, bird of paradise, bananas swaying gently. This is a wild beauty, nurtured by resourcefulness. Look closer at the ground, and you'll find something unexpected: half-buried bottles, their necks catching the light like ocean glass. Once discarded, now reborn as garden edging that feels both whimsical and wise. The bottles don't just decorate, they remind us that waste is only waste if we stop imagining. That luxury doesn't have to mean expensive. It can mean intentional, thoughtful, slow. And the lights strung overhead? Old coconut shells and bottle caps, transformed into warm little lanterns that twinkle when night falls, just enough to invite conversation, laughter, and maybe the smell of something grilled. This space isn't just a kitchen. It's a message, a quiet rebellion against the notion that only new things can be beautiful. It tells us, with your own hands, your own time, and the things others throw away, you can build a sanctuary, a place where food is shared, stories linger, and nature feels like it's hugging you back. So let this be your sign. You don't need to buy paradise. You can build it, one bamboo pole and broken bottle at a time. Three, bottle wall pergola divider with hanging planters. Here, tucked quietly behind a simple pergola frame, a mosaic of forgotten glass has been reborn. Lined row by row, green and clear and amber bottles catch the sunlight and reflect it back in soft, dancing fragments. This isn't just a wall, it's a conversation between shadow and light. Each bottle once held something ordinary. Now, together, they hold something extraordinary: privacy, beauty, and the spirit of reuse. The wall divides without closing. It breathes. It glows. Beneath this glass veil, the pergola becomes a space of calm. Hanging from the beams, more bottles dangle, cut, cleaned, repurposed, cradling herbs and flowers that sway gently in the breeze. You can almost hear them whispering in the wind. Basil, mint, trailing rosemary, little blooms of color that peek through the green glass grid like nature's jewelry. And while it all feels expensive, almost designed by some boutique studio, the truth is far simpler. This wall was made from bottle bins and cast-offs, the kind found behind local restaurants or after celebrations. All you need is a steel frame, patience, and the willingness to give discarded glass a second life. The result is astonishing. As the sun moves, it plays on the surfaces, casting soft kaleidoscopes onto the ground. Morning light feels gentler, evening shadows deeper, and in that shifting light, this bottle wall becomes something more than decor. It becomes story, memory, art, and above all, a quiet rebellion against waste. You don't need expensive panels or store-bought fencing. Sometimes, what you need most is already around you, waiting to be transformed not just by hands, but by imagination. So next time you finish a bottle, don't throw it away. Stack it, save it, see it, because the walls we build don't have to separate us. Sometimes, they just need to shine. coastal-inspired pergola kitchen using recycled wood and seascape decor. Here, among the drift of lavender and the crunch of seashells beneath your feet, stands a pergola that whispers of salty wind and sun-faded afternoons. The beams, whitewashed and softened by time, carry the marks of weather and stories. They once held docks or fences. Now, they hold peace. Every corner of this coastal kitchen feels touched by nature and nostalgia. The countertop, a collection of driftwood planks, is smooth from years of sea and sun, gathered, perhaps, from old piers or forgotten shorelines. Its imperfections are what make it perfect. Nautical ropes are coiled gently around the posts, not for support, but for soul. Woven nets hang like memories of fishing boats long gone, and a single glass buoy swings in the breeze, catching light like a jewel. Bottle lanterns dangle from above, their blue and white glass flickering when the sun passes through. It all looks curated, expensive even. But this place wasn't built by a designer. It was built by hands, and time, and a love for the coast. Much of what you see was reclaimed. Broken boat planks, scattered shells, leftover rope, even the flower boxes, which once carried cargo but now carry beach daisies in full bloom. And in the middle of it all, there is space. Space to cook, to gather, to breathe. It's the kind of space that doesn't rush you, where the only thing louder than the breeze is the sound of something sizzling on the grill, where old paddles become wall art and washed-up boards become cabinet doors. If you've ever longed for the sea but felt too far from it, let this inspire you. You can bring that feeling home, not with money, but with imagination. You can use what others discard to build your own little tide-washed escape. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes it feel more real than the ocean itself. Five, tiny patio pergola with foldable dining table from pallet wood. This tiny patio, nestled in the quiet corner of a home, tells a story not of wealth or grandeur, but of thoughtfulness, of creativity carved from constraint. Beneath a small wooden pergola, beams simple and unpainted, a dining table waits. It folds neatly into the wall, an elegant gesture of space-saving magic. Crafted by hand from old pallets, its surface still carries the grain of the tree it once was. Its edges are imperfect, but they feel honest. The benches match, low, compact, padded with soft cushions. Not store-bought, but imagined from what once was trash. Pallet wood, reclaimed, sanded smooth, now given purpose again. Soft string lights hang like fireflies in a line. And as dusk falls, they awaken, turning this simple patio into a place that feels almost enchanted. Not because of what it cost, but because of how it feels. Planter boxes hug the corners, overflowing with herbs. A wall of reused crates holds mint, thyme, parsley, green life rising from timber once left behind. There's even a shelf, barely wide enough for a cup of tea and a good book, yet somehow it's perfect. Everything here says, you can. You can build something beautiful without a big budget. You can reclaim space, and materials, and memories. You can create warmth even in the smallest of places. This isn't about luxury. This is about intention. About giving what you have, and what others throw away, a new life. A new place to gather, to rest, to enjoy a quiet evening as fairy lights glow above and soft laughter echoes against the walls. Because beauty doesn't need to shout. Sometimes, it just folds out from the wall when you need it most. 6. Pergola with vertical garden fence from plastic bottles. This tiny patio, nestled in the quiet corner of a home, tells a story not of wealth or grandeur, but of thoughtfulness, of creativity carved from constraint. Beneath a small wooden pergola, beams simple and unpainted, a dining table waits. It folds neatly into the wall, an elegant gesture of space-saving magic. Crafted by hand from old pallets, its surface still carries the grain of the tree it once was. Its edges are imperfect, but they feel honest. The benches match, low, compact, padded with soft cushions. Not store-bought, but imagined from what once was trash. Pallet wood, reclaimed, sanded smooth, now given purpose again. Soft string lights hang like fireflies in a line, and as dusk falls, they awaken, turning this simple patio into a place that feels almost enchanted. Not because of what it cost, but because of how it feels. Planter boxes hug the corners, overflowing with herbs. A wall of reused crates holds mint, thyme, parsley, green life rising from timber once left behind. There's even a shelf, barely wide enough for a cup of tea and a good book, yet somehow it's perfect. Everything here says, you can. You can build something beautiful without a big budget. You can reclaim space, and materials, and memories. You can create warmth even in the smallest of places. This isn't about luxury. This is about intention. About giving what you have, and what others throw away, a new life. A new place to gather, to rest, to enjoy a quiet evening as fairy lights glow above and soft laughter echoes against the walls. Because beauty doesn't need to shout. Sometimes, it just folds out from the wall, when you need it most. Seven. Farmhouse pergola with tire-based garden stools. Here, beneath a humble pergola built from weather-worn beams, the spirit of a farmhouse garden comes alive. But not through extravagance, through creativity. Look at the seating. At first glance, they feel charmingly rustic. But then, the realization sets in, these aren't store-bought stools. They were once tires, discarded, dirty, forgotten. Now, wrapped in jute rope, topped with checked cushions, they sit proudly like small thrones around a handmade wooden table. This is what happens when waste meets intention. Nothing here is new, and yet everything feels renewed. The pergola isn't grand. It's simple, like something a neighbor might build over a weekend with a few reclaimed boards and a heart full of hope. Hanging from the beams, mason jar lanterns catch the afternoon light, like little sun catchers, flickering with memories of the past. Around the edges, wildflowers burst in joyful color. Potted plants, wooden crates, and herbs from the backyard fill the space with fragrance and life. It's the kind of corner where coffee tastes better, where tomatoes ripen slower, and where laughter lands softer. There's even a small kitchen tucked nearby. Brick, wood, and simplicity. A sink, a space to prep, a place to gather. This scene is not expensive, but it is priceless, because everything here tells a story of resourcefulness, a story of slow mornings, a story of choosing to see beauty in what others throw away. So the next time you see a worn tire, a cracked board, or an old glass jar, don't turn away. See what it could be. A stool for your garden, a table for your memories, a place where your story begins. 8. Minimalist pergola kitchen with Japanese garden touch. In a world that rushes, sometimes all we need is a quiet pause, a moment of stillness that feels like a breath drawn straight from nature itself. And what better setting for that moment than a minimalist pergola kitchen cradled in the embrace of a Japanese-inspired garden? What you're seeing here may look like an expensive, high-end outdoor sanctuary, but it's actually a poetic union of calm design and upcycled creativity, where trash, when gently reimagined, becomes treasure. The first image draws us into a scene of absolute clarity. The structure stands still and serene, composed of simple wooden beams and slatted roofing, sheltering a kitchen counter made entirely from reclaimed bamboo panels. Once overlooked, now the soul of this peaceful retreat. Stepping stones float across a sea of pristine white gravel, each placed with intention, like words in a haiku. Nestled in the corner, a bamboo water feature trickles softly beside a moss bed and a sculpted bonsai. What's extraordinary here is that nearly every element can be crafted by hand. Used bamboo slats, pallets turned panels, even the stone path gathered from a forgotten corner of your garden. Then we move to the second image, a harmony of elegance and nature. Dark wooden accents blend into the background while cherry blossoms rain gentle pink across the lawn. Beneath the pergola, the outdoor kitchen whispers minimalism with matte finishes and clean lines. But there's something deeply personal in the detail. The frame may be assembled from leftover fencing wood, the countertops reborn from old cabinet doors, and the bridge crossing the koi pond, easily recreated from salvaged deck boards. It's a space that invites reflection on design, on nature, and on the joy of building with your own two hands. Finally, in the third scene, sunlight spills softly through cedar beams onto a perfectly compact kitchen corner. There's a ceramic grill perched like a jewel, but it's the warmth of the timber, the quiet rhythm of raked gravel, and the protection of bamboo fencing that grounds the space. The setting is modest in scale, yet boundless in charm, because it reminds us that luxury isn't always in what you buy, but in what you create. Here, leftover wood panels shape the frame, simple fixtures breathe life into the workspace, and small stone lanterns, perhaps thrift or cast from concrete molds, bring a timeless Japanese spirit to the air. And this is the truth these spaces reveal. You don't need to be rich to live richly. Look again at what you might have thrown away. Bamboo sticks, old planks, even broken stone. Each holds the potential to become part of a deeply meaningful place. A place that is not only beautiful, but also peaceful, personal, and entirely your own. Let this inspire your hands to move gently. Let your imagination walk barefoot through white gravel. And when the work is done, sit beneath your handmade shade and simply breathe. Because sometimes, the most expensive-looking spaces begin with nothing but scrap wood, silent mornings, and a dream. Nine, pergola with outdoor sink area made from trash cans and tiles. In the quiet curve of a backyard shaded by wildflowers and humming life, there stands a pergola, not dressed in luxury, but rich in soul. Its frame, aged with purpose, holds not only vines and sun-filtered shadows, but a secret worth sharing. An outdoor sink crafted entirely from what others might overlook. At the heart of this humble kitchen lies a porcelain sink cradled between two galvanized metal trash cans. Yes, those very bins once destined to hide waste now stand proud as the base for something functional and beautiful. Above them, a mosaic backsplash dances with color. Each tile a shard of memory, perhaps once part of a teacup, a plate, or a story now retold in pattern and light. The countertop, smooth and golden, is reclaimed wood, its edges imperfect, its history whispered through the grain. It holds potted herbs in thrift containers, their fragrance rising gently in the warm air. Mint, basil, thyme, planted not for decoration, but for tomorrow's meal and today's peace. Look closer, and you'll see more treasures reborn. Hanging above, mason jars turned lanterns sway softly in the breeze, their glow subtle and grounding. Beneath the pergola, the ground is lined with reused patio stones and bordered by clay pots filled with new life. Proof that waste is often just potential in disguise. This is not a space that shouts for attention. It invites you instead to rinse vegetables just picked, to wash paint-stained hands after a creative afternoon, to share laughter over a pitcher of iced herbs and citrus. And what can you take from this? More than just inspiration, it's a call to build beauty from what's already around you. An old sink, 2 forgotten trash cans, a box of broken tiles, and wood from a retired fence. These are not scraps. They are chapters waiting to be rewritten. Let this pergola remind us, the most expensive-looking spaces don't come from spending more, but from seeing more. From letting your hands work with memory, and your eyes recognize promise where others see discard. Create your own. Let nature and reclaimed things find a place together, and your pergola kitchen will not only serve meals, it will tell a story. DIY pergola bar with upcycled fence panels and herb garden. There's a quiet kind of magic found in forgotten materials. An old fence panel, a rusted bucket, a weathered shelf. Left alone, they whisper memories of seasons past. But brought together with intention under the beams of a humble pergola, they can tell a whole new story, one of reinvention, sustainability, and warmth. In these backyard bar setups, each piece tells its own tale. The bar fronts are stitched together from salvaged fence panels, once part of dividing walls, now hosts of community and joy. The wood, with all its imperfections, becomes texture, character, soul. It doesn't just hold shelves or drinks, it holds stories. Lined above and along the pergola frame, galvanized metal buckets overflow with life. Herbs like basil, oregano, and thyme spill over the edges, both functional and fragrant. These were once just utility containers, maybe forgotten in a shed. Now, they're the stars of a vertical garden, drawing you in with scent and beauty. Look closer and you'll notice the smallest details do the heaviest lifting. Glassware suspended beneath a shelf made from scrap wood, bottles arranged with care in open crates, ivy gently climbing its way up the frame like it's dancing toward the sun. Even the floor, simple gravel or decking, feels intentional, soft on the feet, warm under the afternoon light. If you think this costs a fortune, think again. The elegance here doesn't come from wealth. It comes from thoughtfulness, from using what's already around you. A few discarded boards, repurposed jars, thrift string lights. What transforms them isn't the price tag, it's the vision. So here's the inspiration. Create your own corner of charm. Not because it's fancy, but because it's yours. Crafted with care, alive with purpose. Beautiful not in spite of its reclaimed roots, but because of them. That's the heart of these pergola bar kitchens. Not built with trends, but with truth. 11. Small space gazebo pergola hybrid for backyard corners. In a forgotten corner of the backyard, where the fence meets the flowering shrubs, something quietly magical has taken root. This isn't just a pergola. It isn't quite a gazebo either. It's a gentle hybrid, a small, thoughtfully crafted retreat, blending the charm of reclaimed materials with the serenity of garden life. Built with scraps of wood, salvaged beams, and a whisper of imagination, it transforms discarded pieces into a calming oasis that looks expensive, yet was born from almost nothing. In the first image, we are greeted with a warm, wooden nook. A hexagonal roof overhead provides shelter, while the trellis sides allow vines to wander freely. This is a place where stories could be shared and morning coffee savored. An L-shaped bench, made from repurposed wood crates and softened with simple cushions, invites one to sit and stay a while. A low round table, modest yet elegant, stands at the center like a quiet host. Hanging pots sway slightly in the breeze. Lanterns rest gently by the corners, ready to offer their glow when twilight falls. It's not just a build, it's a feeling. A handmade haven stitched into the structure of the garden. Then there's the bamboo-backed pergola, minimal and sunlit. Its slatted roof casts quiet shadows across the timber floor, where a small cafe-style table waits for company. Perhaps once a forgotten patio, now a breakfast spot for two. Bamboo fencing adds privacy and tranquility without stealing light. Pink peonies bloom nearby as if drawn to the quiet charm of it all. No dramatic gestures, no polished luxury. Just a clear example that comfort can be crafted, even when the tools are modest and the materials are cast-offs. The final scene feels like it emerged from a dream shared between a gardener and a builder. The dark wood pergola is grounded by built-in planter boxes overflowing with cheerful blooms. A two-person swing gently hangs beneath the beams, promising slow afternoons and swaying conversations. The floor, laid with salvaged stone pavers, is framed with river rocks collected from a creek bed or pulled from a past project. Everything here feels rooted, personal, and gently lived in. This isn't about extravagance. It's about seeing potential in the overlooked. An old fence becomes a back wall. A discarded bench becomes a centerpiece. Leftover gravel, chipped planters, even vines rescued from pruning, all find purpose. So let your next DIY dream begin with a question. What might you create, not from what you can buy, but from what you already have? Because beauty, true beauty, often begins not with money, but with a slow morning, a bit of patience, and the courage to see value in what others would throw away. And perhaps that's the secret, that the most beautiful pergolas are not built from wealth, but from intention. Ferrolite pergola kitchen with hanging recycled lanterns. In a world where design often follows the price tag, there's something beautifully subversive about transforming what was once discarded into something truly divine. Welcome to a corner of the backyard where wooden crates once bound for firewood or landfill are now thrones of beauty, bursting with blooms and edible greens. A pergola stands in quiet triumph, wrapped in vines and shadowed with light, proving that elegance is not always bought, but built. In the first scene, the warmth of community and color blend. Each bench and planter is crafted from reclaimed timber boxes, stacked, sanded, and stained not to hide their history, but to honor it. Bright zinnias and marigolds bloom from every corner, giving the illusion of a garden draped across furniture. It's a space made for laughter and lemonade, for slow coffee mornings or twilight journaling sessions. Then, your gaze wanders to a neighboring nook. A vertical edible garden blossoms from old fruit crates fastened to a timber wall. Lettuce spills over the edges like ruffled skirts, while mint and basil stretch lazily toward the sun. This is more than just practical gardening. It's storytelling through wood grain and greenery. The crates, perhaps once carrying goods to market, now carry life in its greenest form. And just beyond that, a long dining pergola framed with fairy lights beckons as day slips into dusk. Wooden planters made from antique shipping boxes create a natural aisle, flanking the pathway like a floral procession. Ivy climbs upward in a silent dance with gravity, drawing the eye to twinkling bulbs overhead. Soft light refracted through upcycled glass jars, suspended like starlight waiting to be wished upon. Here, you're reminded that the magic is in the making, that the true beauty of these spaces lies not in perfect symmetry, but in creative intention. A practical tip for dreamers ready to build their own story? Start by collecting. Old wooden crates can often be found at flea markets, grocery stores, or discarded near warehouses. Scrub them down, sand the edges, and seal with a weatherproof coat. Stack them. Stain them, mount them on walls or align them to form benches and garden beds. They're stronger than they look, both in function and in charm. And don't be afraid to decorate with what you already have. A few empty wine bottles? Turn them into glowing lanterns. A cracked ceramic dish? Break it further and tile it into art. Let the imperfections guide you, not stop you. Because this isn't just DIY. This is a form of living poetry, each plank and petal a verse. And somewhere between the fairy lights and the fragrance of basil, you'll realize something. You didn't just build a pergola kitchen. You built a sanctuary, from trash, but never from lack. Pergola with built-in planters made from old crates. In a quiet garden corner, where laughter often lingers and time slows just a little, stands a pergola not made of luxury, but of memory, wood softened by weather and stories, reborn into something beautiful. Beneath its sun-filtering slats, crates that once carried fruit now cradle vibrant life. Marigolds in sunshine hues, zinnias in candy-colored blooms, and the refreshing scent of mint and basil whispering between. What might have been trash to some has become treasure here. These stacked wooden boxes, perhaps picked from the forgotten side of a market stall or a neighbor's yard cleanup, have been reimagined, turned into planters, benches, and even tables, all harmonizing in raw simplicity. There's no gloss, no showroom polish, only heart, and nature, and hands that love to make something from nothing. One of the quiet powers of these pergola gardens is how they invite us to slow down, to repurpose with purpose, and to see that beauty doesn't always demand a budget. Only imagination and a willingness to reframe the forgotten. If you're thinking of building your own, let this be your gentle push. Gather what you can find: fruit crates, pallet planks, unused paint, leftover nails. Layer the crates, secure them, fill them with soil, and tuck in your favorite blooms or leafy greens. Let the vines climb freely as your confidence in DIY grows alongside them. This kind of pergola is not just about shade. It's a story of second chances, of wildflowers and herbs growing where only emptiness stood. And maybe that's what makes it feel expensive, because what you create with soul, no price tag can truly capture. So the next time you pass by a pile of scrap wood or a crate left beside the curb, stop for a moment. You might not see garbage. You might just be seeing the beginning of your own peaceful garden escape. (14) Recycled tire grill and fire pit center under pergola. Beneath the open sky, where the scent of timber mingles with wild blossoms and smoke, a quiet revolution burns. It's not loud, it doesn't beg for attention, but it glows. Right here, in the heart of these modest backyards, people are building something extraordinary from what the world once deemed worthless. Welcome to a story not of extravagance, but of soul. A place where pergola kitchens and fire pits look expensive, but are made from trash. And somehow, that makes them even more beautiful. Imagine standing under a pergola fashioned from reclaimed beams, aged not by neglect but by time, rich with character. String lights drape softly across the top, swaying gently in the breeze like whispers of summer evenings past. But it's not the lights that steal your breath, it's the fire. There, in the center, sits a fire pit not carved from stone nor purchased from a luxury catalog, but crafted from old, discarded tires. Painted in heat-resistant black, filled with lava rocks or fire-safe gravel, these circular forms, once destined for a landfill, now cradle flames that gather families and spark conversations. Around the fire, seating tells its own story. Pallet wood benches, rough-hewn and honest, echo a simplicity long forgotten in the age of sleek metal and overpriced furniture. Sometimes logs become stools. Sometimes painted tires, bold in blues and oranges, become playful ottomans. It's not just functional. It's joyful, unpretentious, and entirely yours. From one backyard to another, the details shift but the spirit remains. You'll find bottle lanterns, some green, some amber, some clear, dangling from pergola beams, casting gentle patterns of light against the ground at dusk. Maybe they were once wine bottles celebrating old birthdays. Now, they're beacons of warmth and repurposing, glowing proof that everything and everyone deserves another chance. At the far edge, an old grill rests against a handmade brick wall. Not perfect, maybe a little chipped, but built with care. Nearby, bundles of firewood are stacked in readiness. Tools hang from hooks fashioned out of repurposed metal. Even the flooring, gravel and stone, edged with bricks, feels grounded, connected to the earth. Not just a place to sit, but a place to be. And this, perhaps, is what makes it so powerful. These are not scenes of polished luxury. They are not showroom perfect, but they hum with soul. They radiate the quiet magic of creation, not from money, but from memory, from intention, from the will to see beauty where others see brokenness. Anyone can buy a kitchen set. Anyone can order a designer fire pit. But to transform tires into gathering places, crates into counters, and bottles into stars of the night, that's something else entirely. That's art. That's survival. That's love. So if you find yourself with nothing but time, a few tools, and a backyard waiting for stories, don't look away from what's been thrown out. Look closer. Look gently. Because somewhere in the corner of your shed or beneath the dust of your garage is the beginning of something breathtaking. Let your fire start there. Let your pergola rise from the forgotten. Let your kitchen glow from trash that became treasure, not just for your eyes, but for your spirit. 15. Garden border integrated pergola for space saving. In the quiet corners of suburban backyards, where the hum of traffic fades and only birdsong lingers in the air, a revolution in beauty is unfolding, built not from wealth, but from wisdom. These pergola kitchen ideas don't shimmer because of their price tag, but because of the soul poured into every recycled crate, every salvaged tire, every wooden plank once forgotten. And perhaps, in their imperfection, they teach us what true design really is: thoughtful, grounded, and kind to the earth. In one backyard, we discover a pergola wrapped in trailing vines, where its foundation rises not from concrete but from upcycled crates turned into garden beds. Bright zinnias and marigolds bloom from them, creating a natural tapestry at the foot of this wooden frame. Old wooden pallets, sanded down with care, now form benches, offering a place to pause. The gravel underfoot crunches softly, simple, yet soothing. This space was crafted by hand, not purchased from a catalog, and every detail tells a story of transformation. Another space glows gently at dusk. Here, a fire pit, unbelievably beautiful, has been built from stacked, painted tires. Filled with lava rocks and cradling fire like a hearth from folklore, it becomes the heart of the gathering. Around it, stools made from more tires, boldly painted in hues of orange and blue, offer a playful yet practical seat. Overhead, recycled bottle lanterns swing from string lights, glowing like captured fireflies. There is no excess here, yet it feels rich, rich in warmth, in ingenuity, in human touch. Elsewhere, beneath another pergola, raised garden borders double as seating and design. Reclaimed wood planks frame fragrant herbs: rosemary, sage, lavender. The air is infused with their calming scent, and the sunlight dapples gently through beams above. Curtains made from old linens flutter lazily, softening the structure. This is more than a corner of a yard. It's a haven for slow afternoons, fresh meals, and meaningful conversation. And it all began with scrap wood and a little belief in second chances. What these spaces share isn't symmetry or shine, it's soul. You don't need to buy luxury to live it. You just need patience, vision, and the willingness to see possibility where others see waste. An old fence panel becomes a bar backdrop. Discarded crates grow lettuces. Tires become warmth. And suddenly, your backyard becomes your sanctuary. If you're inspired, start small. Begin with one crate. Let ivy climb. Gather jars. Let your hands create, not consume. You're not just building a pergola. You're reclaiming beauty, bit by bit, from the forgotten corners of the world. And in doing so, you create something no one else can copy. Your own quiet kind of magic. (16) Backyard pergola kitchen with Seascape wall mural. In a quiet backyard where stories are told not with words but with reclaimed wood, stones, and sunlight, lies a series of kitchens under pergolas. Spaces that speak softly of creativity born from simplicity. These are not high-end designer kitchens crafted from polished catalogs. They are living poems built from what others might call trash. But here, each old crate, worn pallet, and forgotten bottle finds new life in the rhythm of reuse. Look closer. One corner boasts a pergola bar framed by old fence panels and alive with herbs tumbling from tin buckets. Basil, thyme, mint, all whispering scents into the breeze. Beneath the wooden slats, string lights drape like constellations, while wine bottles rest in rugged open shelves made from reclaimed planks. This is elegance not bought, but built, one salvaged board at a time. In another scene, bright crates stacked like building blocks bloom with marigolds, lavender, and lettuce, wrapping the pergola in a colorful, edible hug. The furniture is nothing but reshaped wood, and yet it cradles the space with a warmth no factory finish could match. If you listen carefully, the gravel crunch beneath your feet tells you this place was crafted with care, not capital. And then there's the fire pit, a bold centerpiece sculpted from old tires, once destined for landfill but now holding flame like a hearth for modern tales. Around it, pallet benches and tree stump stools invite neighbors to linger longer. In this space, food is cooked with smoke and stories, and light dances in recycled lanterns strung overhead. What was junk is now joy. Some kitchens take it a step further, painting their dreams on walls. Beach scenes sweep across reclaimed boards, with hand-painted waves crashing eternally on imagined shores. The counters are tiled with mismatched patterns, the sinks salvaged, the shelves lined with dried herbs in jars that once held pickles. These walls don't just serve food, they transport the soul. Each mural is a passport to peace, a reminder that creativity sees not waste, but possibility. If you're thinking of building your own, start not with what you must buy, but with what surrounds you. That old wooden pallet by the shed? A bench waiting to happen. The crates left over from last season's harvest? They long to be planters. Even rusted tools can become hooks beneath a pergola beam. And the wall you never knew how to dress? Let it become your canvas. Paint your paradise. These pergola kitchens are more than backyard features. They are reminders that beauty is often found in what we choose not to throw away. That luxury, when built with love, doesn't cost a fortune. It grows in quiet corners, under string lights and open skies. So breathe it in. The scent of basil warmed by the sun. The heat of fire from a tire that once ran highways. The gentle hush of waves painted on weathered wood. This is where waste becomes wonder, and your hands hold the power to begin. (17) Edible garden kitchen pergola with recycled bottle irrigation. There's something deeply poetic about transforming what was once discarded into something that breathes life, into something that welcomes, nurtures, and even feeds. That's the quiet genius behind these pergola kitchens. From tossed-out tires to rescued wood, from forgotten crates to empty plastic bottles once destined for landfills. Each corner tells a story, not of waste, but of revival. Imagine walking barefoot on gravel warmed by the sun, beneath the timber bones of a rustic pergola. Your fingers graze the smooth edge of a kitchen counter made of repurposed driftwood. Overhead, string lights dangle like fireflies, while a fire pit, built from stacked tires, crackles in the center, its flames licking the sky with soft heat. It feels extravagant, yet it's built from things most would overlook. Look closer and you'll find comfort in every corner. Benches crafted from humble pallets offer not just a place to rest but a memory of the hands that assembled them. Log stools surround the fire like quiet companions. Old wine bottles have found new purpose, glowing as lanterns. Even the grill seems to carry stories in its suit. In another quiet garden nook, a pergola rises not just as shelter, but as part of the garden itself. Each post is anchored in garden beds, some made from stacked bricks, others from reclaimed timber. Herbs and flowers grow upward, wrapping the structure in scent and softness. The edges of the space are defined not by fences, but by life, lavender in bloom, marigolds shining like captured suns, and edible greens soaking in the light. Then, there's the kitchen by the sea, not literally, but in spirit. Murals of waves crash in vibrant blue along wooden walls, painted with care. Beneath them, a counter made of forgotten tiles and salvaged wood holds plates and terracotta pots, herbs and spoons. Seashells rest like punctuation marks of peace. Here, even the breeze feels salt-kissed. Yet it's perhaps the last space that whispers the loudest. A pergola kitchen surrounded by rows of leafy greens and tomato vines. Above them, strings of inverted plastic bottles. Clear, simple, and brilliant, drip water slowly onto the soil. It's irrigation at its gentlest, and it's made from what others might have thrown away. Every drop is a quiet act of care. The countertops here are not polished granite but weathered timber. Open shelves hold fresh harvests, and underneath, tucked between shadows, are crates filled with vegetables. These spaces aren't just beautiful, they're wise. They speak to what we can build when we choose to see potential in the broken, in the cast-off, in the used. You don't need to spend a fortune to create a sanctuary. What you need is intention, patience, and the courage to see treasure in trash. So let these pergola kitchens inspire more than design. Let them stir a new way of seeing. With a little effort and imagination, what surrounds you today could become tomorrow's retreat. And as you sit beneath your own pergola one evening, sipping tea or tending herbs, you'll know you didn't just make a space. You made a story worth telling. Pergola with vintage trash-to-treasure decor accents. Beneath the humblest beams of reclaimed wood and the whisper of ivy climbing silently upwards, something magical happens. Proof that beauty, comfort, and creativity are not the exclusive privilege of the expensive. Sometimes, the most inspiring kitchen pergolas begin not with a budget, but with what others might overlook. What you see here is not just a collection of outdoor kitchens. It is a series of soulful sanctuaries woven together by vision, nature, and second chances. In one corner of the world, discarded tires, often left to gather dust, are reborn as rustic fire pits, their dark rubber curves now glowing with warmth and stories shared under a canopy of stars. Around them, log stools and pallet benches echo simplicity, offering rest to friends and laughter that lingers longer than the flames. There is no luxury label here, but the atmosphere is rich with presence. With just string lights above and gravel underfoot, the elegance of the moment is undeniable. Elsewhere, an edible garden thrives within the arms of a pergola, quietly revolutionizing the way we think about outdoor kitchens. Crisp lettuces and bold tomatoes burst from planter beds while a clever irrigation system of repurposed plastic bottles trickles life into their roots. Above the countertops made of old fencing and storage crates, light filters softly through hanging greenery and upcycled bottles, a reminder that sustainability can be serene, and that a kitchen without walls can still feel like home. Then, there's the Seascape pergola, a painter's daydream brought to life with brushes and beach blue tones. Ocean waves crash along a muraled wall, each stroke breathing calm into the space. The kitchen itself is modest, reclaimed wood shelves, stone basins, and glass jars filled with herbs and dried seashells. But together, they transport you. Every detail is chosen with care, not cost, and it's this intimacy that makes the space feel like a private coastal escape. Somewhere not far from that breeze-blessed setting stands a garden pergola wrapped in raised borders of herbs and lavender. It's a practical design, built-in beds that double as walls, but its function never overshadows its form. Rosemary perfumes the air, bees hum, and sunlight dances across a bench where one might rest and sip mint tea brewed from their own patch. It's more than efficient, it's poetic. And finally, tucked among vines and blooms, a pergola that seems to exist outside of time. Here, a weathered drawer becomes a flower box, chipped tea kettles cradle petunias, and forgotten ladders lean proudly, bearing pots of green. There is no perfection here, only soul. It's a gallery of second lives, rusted tin lanterns, mismatched furniture, bicycle wheels now turned into wall art, all gathered into a composition that sings softly of nostalgia and creative joy. Each of these pergola kitchens tells the same quiet truth, that design isn't just what we build, it's how we see. It's in the courage to pick up a cracked crate or a broken pot and imagine it differently. It's in the patience of stringing together recycled bottles into a curtain of light or a curtain of water. And it's in the heart that beats behind every what-if whispered while turning waste into wonder. So let these scenes be an invitation, not just to admire, but to create. To look around your home, your shed, your neighborhood, and notice the forgotten. Because with your hands and a little imagination, even trash can become a treasure. And under the shelter of a pergola, lit not by price tags but by passion, you might just find your perfect kitchen. (19) Pergola countertop from Mosaic broken glass and trash. In a world that often rushes past simplicity, there is a quiet magic in a space that embraces imperfection, where what was once discarded is now celebrated, and what was once forgotten breathes again with purpose. Let us take a slow walk together through a garden of ideas that whispers a powerful truth. Beauty doesn't have to be bought. It can be built, slowly, with care and creativity, using pieces of life left behind. Here, beneath the beams of humble wooden pergolas, rise outdoor kitchens that feel like poetry rendered in reclaimed textures. Picture countertops born not from catalogs, but from mosaic dreams, shattered tiles, broken glass, seashells, pottery, bottle caps, all carefully arranged into swirling waves, wildflowers, and bursts of color that dance in the afternoon sun. They glisten not because of their perfection, but because of their history. Each fragment tells a story. Perhaps that mirror once hung in a hallway where children grew up. Maybe that ceramic plate was from a birthday long ago. These surfaces are more than decoration. They're memory mosaics. Under these wooden pergolas, which may have once been fences or barn doors, the rustic structures cradle spaces for cooking, gathering, and planting. There are no showroom finishes, only honest wood and open skies. Hanging above, old lanterns and recycled glass bottles gleam, catching light and giving it back gently, like soft stars before twilight. And then there are the gardens, lush and alive, bordered by crates, brick, and planters made from pallets. Between their roots, water drips slowly from upcycled plastic bottles, each one turned into a simple irrigation system. It's an idea so clever, so quietly elegant, that it makes you smile. Lettuce, basil, tomatoes, they all flourish beneath this handmade care. One pergola hosts a beach painted on reclaimed fence panels, waves lapping not just the sand but the imagination. In another, tire stacks blaze with firelight while wooden pallet benches surround, inviting stories to be shared and songs to be sung. The simplicity of it all soothes the soul. Elsewhere, an array of vintage relics, a rusted bike wheel, chipped tea kettles, mismatched drawers, adorn a pergola like treasures in a museum curated by time and intention. Each object, once trash, now serves as art and utility. A watering can becomes a planter. A window frame becomes a view into the past. This isn't clutter. This is character. If you are wondering whether you can make something like this, the answer is yes. You don't need expensive tools. You need time, a bit of patience, and an eye for what could be. Let your creativity meander. Let your hands shape what your heart imagines. Begin with what you have: old tiles, salvaged wood, containers, lanterns, or even beach glass, and let it evolve slowly, layer by layer. Because in the end, a pergola kitchen made from trash isn't just about sustainability or saving money. It's about choosing to see the world differently. It's about finding joy in the process, not just the outcome. And it's about creating a space that feels deeply personal, where every corner tells your story. So take a moment to step outside. Look at your space, however small. Listen to the wind moving through the leaves. Let yourself be inspired by what surrounds you, not in a catalog, but in the world right at your fingertips. Build it not to impress, but to express. Build it slowly. Build it with love. Reclaimed wood pergola with solar bottle lamps. There is a kind of quiet magic that only a handmade space can whisper. It speaks in mosaic shadows and reclaimed wood grain, in flickers of bottle glow and the scent of basil kissed by the sun. If you listen closely, the spaces we create from forgotten things hum a song of second chances. And in this story, the humble pergola becomes a stage for rebirth and beauty. Welcome to the world of pergola kitchens that look expensive, but are made from trash, where creativity blooms brighter than price tags, and luxury is redefined not by cost, but by care. Look at the handcrafted mosaic countertops, carefully embedded with the shards of shattered mugs, cracked tiles, broken mirror pieces, bottle caps, and sea glass. No two patches are the same. Each piece was once tossed aside, yet now it dances under the daylight, catching the eye like gems under clear water. There's a rhythm here, a kind of visual poetry that no factory-made surface could ever replicate. And what supports this kitchen is no less noble. Pergolas made from reclaimed wood, beams rich with character. Nail scars, knots, weathering, and irregular cuts don't detract, they define. These aren't defects, they are the fingerprints of time, proof of a material's journey from old fence to forgotten barn to open-air culinary sanctuary. Above, solar-powered lanterns fashioned from discarded wine and soda bottles dangle like floating fireflies. By day, they shimmer like stained glass in a chapel of green. By night, they radiate a gentle warmth, turning every gathering below into something sacred. Laughter becomes softer, meals feel richer, and conversations stretch longer. What elevates this concept beyond design is intention. These pergola kitchens aren't just made to impress, they are made to express. They reflect a spirit of stewardship, a belief that even the broken can be beautiful again, if only given a purpose. If you're wondering whether you could create something like this yourself, the answer is yes. Begin not with money, but with memory. Search your garage, your neighborhood, your local salvage yard. Collect what is no longer wanted, and see not what it was, but what it could be. An old drawer becomes a spice shelf. Cracked tiles turn into a table mosaic. Bottles find their light again. And in the process, something else is renewed. You. There's a meditative grace in scrubbing old materials clean, in choosing the perfect pattern of imperfection, in building with your own hands under open skies. In these kitchens, meals are cooked with herbs grown in hanging buckets, conversations are lit by rescued glass, and every inch tells a story. This is not just design. It is a lifestyle, rooted in humility, blooming in imagination, and glowing with the quiet pride of a job beautifully done. So let the world buy sleek, sterile luxury. You, on the other hand, can build your own, one cracked teacup, rusted hinge, and sunbeam at a time. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read every one.